Hello and welcome to another live lesson here on the AM Language YouTube channel. It is a Wednesday afternoon. The sun is out. It's actually a really nice day in Malta. And today we are looking at comparisons, comparing people really. So we're going to look at some comparative language. We'll look at it from a simple point of view, and we'll look at it from a more complicated point of view as well. We'll also have a look to see at how we can make comparisons that are similar and comparisons that are dissimilar as well. So all of those things we will look at in today's lesson. Now, this week, we're only going to have a 30-minute lesson. Due to the other things that are going on. So today there'll be 30 minutes, and then tomorrow as well. As we've got another lesson ready for tomorrow. And tomorrow, make sure you keep a lookout for our new short video that will be going up tomorrow. Leondina says, hi, Richard. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Leondina. Buon pomeriggio. Welcome to today's lesson. I hope you're doing well. So to get started, Alida, good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. Thank you for joining. Buenos dias from where you are in the world as well. So to get us started, what I would like you guys to do is I'd like you to try and think of two people that you think can be compared. So, for example, a classic example might be something like Messi versus Ronaldo, for example. I'll write that in, actually. Messi versus Ronaldo. Unfortunately, all the ones I can think of are football half the time. Like Maradona versus Pele, for example. That's another, but that's just when it comes to football. If you're looking at people outside football, you could say, let's think of some others. I suppose from an if you're looking at actors, you could go with something like Al Pacino versus Robert De Niro. If it's royalty, Meghan Markle versus Katie Middleton. And so on and so forth. Good afternoon, Evelina. Buono pomeriggio. Welcome to today's lesson. So I'd like you just to think of two people that you think can be compared. If you're thinking in terms of music, there's always like the likes of, I would say, maybe Sia versus Sia versus Lady Gaga could be quite an interesting comparison. Adele versus, let's say, Amy Winehouse. I mean, that's really different. Amy Winehouse. Those two artists are really, really different. If you like your classic sort of rock, you could go with Led Zeppelin. Of course, I'm going to go with Led Zeppelin. Versus, let's see, another rock and roll band, maybe versus the Rolling Stones. I'll include bands in this. So yeah, let me know what you think. Two people you think that could be compared. Maybe it's TV, maybe it's characters as well. Let's say a classic one, maybe if we're going with Friends, would be something like comparing Monica and Rachel, for example. So Rachel, depending on the spelling. So those are what we are. Actually, no, I was right the first time. So those are what we're looking at here. So let me know what you would like. Let me know if you can think of any two people or two characters that you think could be compared. You can also go with people who are not real as well. If you like your Disney, for example, you can always go with, let's see, Bella and what's her name? Cinderella, that's it. Yes, maybe Bella and Cinderella. So let me know in the live chat which two people you would like to think you would like to compare. Mickey versus Donald. I do like that one. Hello, everybody. Oh, toodles. Mickey Mouse. That's my Mickey Mouse impression. Donald Duck. Oh, I don't have enough. No, I don't think I can do Donald Duck. You know what? I always get confused between Donald Duck, the voice of Donald Duck, and Daffy Duck, actually. But that's a good one, Mickey versus Donald. Okay. So I'll give you guys just a bit more time to come in with your other suggestions, and then we'll get going. We'll start making some comparisons. Okay. Now, when we're talking about comparisons, guys, it's important to remember if you're looking at shorten adjectives. If you're looking at a short adjective, for example, such as short, okay, the comparative is going to be shorter. If you're looking at a slightly longer adjective, we're going to go with something like, let's say, beautiful. You would then go with, what's happened here? Then obviously you're going to go with more beautiful, which is very standard. Obviously, you can also go with less. You can also go with less beautiful as well. Not as beautiful. The negative of shorter would be not as, if we're looking at short, okay, and it's a negative, okay, it's a negative of short would be not as tall. If you're doing it the other way around, shorter, yes, or not as tall, both would be correct, actually. I should put that in. So I'm going to change that because I don't want to confuse people. Yeah, you got shorter or not as tall. So this is the language that we're looking at to begin with. Okay, so let's start off with something nice and simple, and we'll work our way up. Now, Alida's come in with Mickey versus Donald. So let's start off with the first question. I will give you my, what you guys need to do is you need to complete the sentence, okay? So Mickey is and Donald Duck. So the question is, which one is the correct way then that we're going to complete this? Mickey is not as popular, maybe. B, more popular. C, let's go with Mickey is or just popular. Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just popular. Okay, so which one do you think is going to be the correct one over here? In your opinion, anyway. So Mickey is not as popular. Ooh, I just sorry, remove. I put that instead of than. It's important that we always get than and not that. Mickey is something than Donald Duck. So you're all going for more popular. So Mickey is more popular than Donald Duck. And yes, that would be correct. Okay, so that's a nice simple one to get us into this conversation today. Right, let's look at the next thing that we're going to look at over here. Let's say, We're going to use this as a question. So, hey. Go with what do you think is the correct one over here? Is Mickey more clever than Donald? Is Mickey cleverer than Donald? Is Mickey less cleverer than Donald? Don't worry about the fact that I put a capital in B. That's not important at this point. Again, we've gone with a slightly different adjective here. Leondina says A, more clever. Do you guys agree? Do you think the comparative form is more clever or cleverer? Evelina also says A. So you're saying, is Mickey more clever than Donald? Okay, let's see. Alida, do you agree with them? Do you agree? Is it B? Sorry, is it A? And then we're going to move on to something a little bit harder. I'm going to give you just 10 more seconds, and then I will let you know what the answer is. Alida says maybe both. Okay, in this case, there's actually only one correct answer, and it might surprise you. It's B. Because clever is, generally speaking, if you have an adjective with two syllables, it's probably going to be the shortened version. Clever, cleverer. If it's got one syllable, most of the time it will be the shortened version as well, like short, shorter. Once we have more than two syllables, that's when you know that it's definitely going to be more or less. Let's go with one more then with this. Okay, is Mickey something than Donald Duck? Okay, so think about clever and then think about funny. Both of them have two syllables. Alida says A. So is Mickey funnier than Donald Duck? Do you agree with Alida? Is this going to be funnier? And all of you are saying, yep, correct. Answer is A. Good, well done. Now, let's start going with the comparatives, okay, in a slightly different way. So, let's go on to some different characters, because first we've looked at Mickey and Donald Duck. So let's pick two different characters. I'm going to go with, actually, let me just ask you guys this question. Are you all familiar with Monica and Rachel from Friends? Okay, so are you all familiar with Monica and Rachel from Friends? Okay, the popular TV series back in the 90s and early 2000s. Are you all familiar? Familiar is a really good word to know. It means that do you know it effectively? If you are familiar with something, it means you are. Yes, sure, I've seen the 10 seasons. Leondina says not at all. Okay. In which case, if you're not all familiar, I'm going to go with one that I think it's fair to say all of you will be familiar with. Let's go with... Okay, let's go with Bella, and kind of got a Disney theme going here. Bella and Cinderella. Okay, so let's have a little look at other ways that you can use comparatives. So we can go with now let's break this language down a little bit. Though Bella was faced with a beast, Cinderella had to deal with two ugly beasts, being her stepsister. So let's break this down because I've made the sentence a little bit more complicated than a simple, straightforward comparison. So let's start off with, let's go about this way. Okay. First of all, A. Is this a funny uh, comparison where there is a similarity, or is this a funny comparison where there are big differences? Okay, so what type of comparison is this? So we're going to build this one up here. So is this a comparison where we are looking at a similarity, or is this a comparison where we're looking at something that is different? So we're going to slowly build our way up to this one. So all of you are saying A, and yes, the answer here is A. Now, the next thing that we need to look at is the structure. We've got a past passive plus a past simple. Okay. What we have here, we have though Bella was faced. So here, this is the passive, was faced with a beast, comma, and it's important to always put the comma here. Cinderella had to deal with two ugly beasts, being her stepsisters. Now, why do we need a comma? Well, we need a comma because of though. Now, there's a particular reason for this, and I'm going to explain. Adverbial, or what we call an adverb clause. Let's just call it an adverb clause, okay? What happens is we start our sentences with things like even though, although. So when you start your sentences with though, even though, although, after the first clause, you put a comma, okay? So let's write this sentence again, and this time you guys need to tell me where to put the comma, okay? So I'm just going to change though to a slightly different word. Where does the comma go? Let's go with, I'm just going to change the names a little bit. So where does the comma go here? Where does the comma go here? In case you're wondering, I'll also explain to you what though, in this case, though means, because there's a few potential meanings, but though, even though, and although all have a similar meaning, and we'll see what that meaning is. So where does the comma go here? So instead of going with though, this time I've gone with although. So Alida has gone, okay, so Leondina has said after choice, and same with Alida, yes, after choice. And that is correct. That is correct. That's where the comma goes. So when you've got words like though, even though, and although, which is the correct, what do these mean? They all mean the same thing. Do they mean, in this case, but, despite, or because? So when you look at though, even though, or although, do you think this means but, despite, or because? What do you think? Alida says B, which is despite. Leondina and Evelina, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Okay, you're saying B and B as well. Although very good. Okay, and this allows us to create a comparative sentence. So despite Jane was faced, although Jane was faced with a hard choice, Sarah had to deal with two difficult decisions. So this is how we can create a different type of comparison, okay? Now, let's develop this a little bit more. We've got this passive, which is easy, which we can use, and then we just have to mix it with a past simple. So let's go with a slightly different comparison here. And we'll see if you guys can complete the comparison for me. So I'm going to go with, because it's so popular, Messi and Ronaldo. Okay, so okay. Now let's see this. I'm going to give you the language you need to think about. So the verbs you need to think about would be let's try again. Okay. Okay, and then the noun of criticize. Okay, so you need to think of how you're going to complete this sentence with, you need to think of the verb criticize, you need to think of the verb receive, and you need to think of what the noun of criticize is in order to complete this sentence. Now remember, this is a past simple passive. So, and we're going with the structure of past simple passive plus a past simple. So let's see if you guys can complete this sentence over here. Although Ronaldo was something at Real Madrid, Messi more something at Barcelona. So let's see if you guys can complete this. And like I said, this is knowing how there are lots of different ways that we can make comparisons, obviously. We started off looking at the simple version of it with words like cleverer, funnier, more popular. And now we're looking at how we can use grammar as well to help us create the comparatives. So although Ronaldo was At Real Madrid, Messi more at Barcelona. So let's see what you guys come out with. In case you're wondering, criticize. You need to think of what the past of criticize is. Is it a regular verb, for example? Receive as well. Is that a regular verb or is it an irregular verb? And then the noun of criticize. Okay, so Leondina's coming with, although Ronaldo was criticized at Real Madrid, Messi had received more criticisms you've gone with at Barcelona. If you agree with Leondina, let me know in the live chat in the live chat comments over here. There's always a question, I suppose, when it comes to nouns, whether you need the plural s or not in certain cases. Certain nouns we're not going to ever use the s with. It's a bit like information. We're never going to say informations. Okay. So let's see what you guys end up saying. I'll give you just one more minute and then I'll tell you what the correct answer is. But like I said, guys, we've gone for two different types of comparisons here today. We looked at the basic at the start of the lesson, and in this one, we've looked at something a little bit more difficult. It's still language that you would learn. I mean, look, this language you would still learn at pre-intermediate level, but trying to mix the language together, that's when it can be a little bit more difficult. Okay, so I'll tell you what the answer is. And well done, Leondina, you did really well. Leondina, though, might want to change it to maybe I have to say received instead of had received. Criticized, received, and criticism, says Alida. Okay, well, actually, Leondina, you were very close. It's just that we don't need the S. So, although Ronaldo was criticized at Real Madrid, Messi had received more criticism at Barcelona. So, with criticism, just like information, you don't need to add an S on to it. Okay, so well done, guys, and that's what we've looked at over here today. So let's see. I'm going to give you guys one last chance for you to make your own comparison. And what I'd like you to do is you can make your own comparison between two people. If you like, you can pick Messi, Ronaldo. You can pick Bella and Cinderella. If you want to go with Monica and Rachel, you can. Can you make your own comparison? Go with what you feel comfortable with. If you want to go with using shorter, taller, friendlier, more popular, you can do. If you want to have a go at trying to make this type of comparison where you are using you're using word like although, and a past simple passive, and then just a past simple. If you want to go with something a little bit more complicated, have a go. It's a really good way of doing it. It's a good way to make comparisons. There are many different ways we can make comparisons in English, and knowing how to use the grammar to help you create those comparisons can be really, really useful. I mean, we could go on for a long time just talking about the different ways we can make comparisons in English. So I'm going to give you just 2 more minutes to come in with your own examples. And then I'm afraid I will have to end there. Not as long as I normally do. Next week, hopefully I can go back to giving the normal 45 minutes lessons. Just to remind you, tomorrow, wow, we're already going to be on Thursday tomorrow. Thursday, we've got descriptive language, paint an image. So that's something you guys can look forward to tomorrow. Paint an image, descriptive language. So I will be looking at that with you guys tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, I'll give you guys 1 more minute if you'd like to come in. If you guys want to later on, let's say you can't think of it in time, you can leave your examples in the comment section underneath the actual video. So Alida said, although Monica was loved by the audience, she was not as popular as Rachel. Excellent. I think that's a really good example of a comparison, Alida, using although, then you've gone with the past simple passive, and then you've gone with another past simple, and you've also managed to use a standard comparison structure as well. So really good, Alida. That's a really good example. Leondina's come in with even though. Don't forget the H in though. Even though Messi was faced with difficulties at Barcelona, Ronaldo had more than one difficulty at Juventus. Yeah, I think that's a really good sentence, Leondina. I think you're emphasizing there that Ronaldo had difficulties as well, in case they think that Ronaldo had an easier time at Barcelona. You've managed to use the passive, past simple passive, and then you've linked it to a past simple. So really well done. Two good example sentences. Anyone watching, have a look at the sentences Alida and Leondina have written. They are very good sentences. So well done. And that's the sort of language that you can use that really increases the level of your English. If you come out with that language in your level test, your teacher is going to be impressed. So if you are a pre-intermediate or intermediate, your teacher will be impressed. At an upper intermediate language, even though you would hope students would be able to make that, I can assure you there are plenty of upper intermediate students that would still struggle to make that sentence without any mistakes. So very well done. Good stuff there. So a big thank you to Leondina, Alida, and Evelina for joining me today and giving your sort of input in today's lesson. Take care, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, where we're going to look at language that we can use to help paint a picture. So take care, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you like the video and subscribe if you're new, and thank you, Evelina. You too, Leondina and Alida, you as well. Take care, guys, and bye for now. See you tomorrow.